So, career paths, which eventually is what you're going to do after you study. So, probably I hear this a lot. They tell me study what you love, but actually, I would say study what you need in order to become, or maybe I don't know, if you want to be a teacher. Well, why would you study something that has nothing to do with your, let's say, area of expertise? Or maybe you want to work in a bank and you are studying chemical engineering. Well, maybe that will be okay, but a chemist, well, definitely nothing to do. So career paths are always interesting because it has infinite, let's say, ways or paths, but I choose the most common ones, which is either work, study, research, and stuff like that. So the first thing you will do is graduate and ask yourself, what do you want to do? Maybe you got these internships and you got a hot job opportunity, or maybe you were doing some research in the university and you got this research opportunity. Maybe you have no idea or you want to study a little bit more, so you do your master degree. And well, there are plenty of those. So I would say, even though you're a chemical engineer or you're a, let's say, a chemist, you have these three options: keep studying, go for research, or work and or have a job. So let's see. Let's say we choose to study. Well, you can study either master, or I think right now you can go directly for some certain, uh, not all of them, but there are plenty of PhD doctorates that you can do. So the typical ones: MBA, finance, global manufacturing. They are very expensive, very hard to get, and very competitive. But of course, once you got an MBA from a nice university, you have plenty of doors open. So that's good once you pay the money. Now, guys, I'm not going to recommend you anything personally because this is up to you. What do you want to do with your life and your life goals and expectations? So, yeah, I'm not going to say this is expensive or cheap. Is it worth it or not? That's up to you guys. You need to research yourself wherever you are, whatever you want to do, and so on. Now, these are a little bit cheaper, which are chemical engineering technology, anything related to engineering, anything related to environmental or something technical such as polymer technology. That will be the typical one for actually for both, because you can start studying chemistry and go for a chemical engineer degree, and backwards you can go and study something related to chemistry. Let's say you love reactor engineering and you want to get to know a little bit more on reaction kinetics, so you get a master involving reaction kinetics right here. Or you get to see the new product launch. So I saw this image and I think it's pretty cool. The more you know, the less, let's say, the less you know actually. So what do you want to know? Everything? Well, it's when I say that everything, I mean you want to know about reactors, you want to know about plant design, you want to know software, you want to know about chemistry. Well, that's very typically an undergrad has a little bit of everything, but actually knows not that deep. Now the master degree is good because you start getting a little bit deeper and you start knowing more, let's say, niche, or let's say, for example, this one right here, polymer technology. Well, a chemical engineer that has a lot of polymer, let's say, focus, or a master degree in polymer, will definitely be a good option for all those plastic industry or whatever packaging industry that has something to do with polymers. And I will say PhD is, wow, something very strange, very unique. You are the guy. I mean, you are the guy that knows about this. You are researching probably new materials, new technologies. So if they come to you, maybe you are studying about fluid dynamics, how this distillation column is working, and it may give you, I don't know, maybe a better percentage of separation. So if you go to a petroleum company and you tell them, hey guys, I know about this and I can improve your processes, you can even sell it or be a consultant. Actually, consultant, I think there's more money than being a researcher working for them. And I love it because once, well, actually, there's nothing here. When you want nothing and a lot, well, that won't work. Now, in both cases, you can go for research. If you're a chemical engineer or a chemist, you can always research on your area. Maybe you can do some distillations. Let's say this is the chemist, she's doing some chemistry. This, let's say it's an engineer, she's working in this little reactor. The good thing is that you can work in plenty of research centers, especially in Europe or USA. There's plenty of money for that research. So if you want to do some researches, you will get money in order to get raw materials, reagents, equipment, and so on. Now let's get a little bit more into the engineers. So I like work because work is eventually something productive and you get to get money. So you could go as a teacher or professor, teacher in high school, professor at university, respected in the area, but I would say that in general, not that much money, or at least if you compare it versus other type of work. The good thing is that if you actually like it, you will have a lot of fun. Now, if you choose to work for a company, you are most likely to work in a chemical plant. And even though it's not technically speaking blue collar work, I like to call it because it's the only way you will see engineers going to the chemical plant. Or maybe you are a chemical or process engineer right here. You're checking these computer softwares and so on. Of course, they need someone who knows about pressures, temperature, vapors. You cannot just take one guy and teach him. You need to be sure that person is qualified for this type of job. And the good thing is that plenty of these engineers have a lot of fun because I used to work here and they always told me I'd rather be here because I'm moving, like literally moving from one place to another place. I can see the equipment. If there's a problem, I can go watch it for myself instead of just watching a report of pump number X failed, so therefore we're not producing that much. You can go to the pump, see why it failed, and so on. So I will definitely recommend you at least to work 1 year of your life in a chemical plant. You will get to know how to interact with, let's say, non-engineers like operators and so on. And that's a unique experience. And then comes the typical white collar or administration, or let's say all the guys that will work for a nice suit. They do this. I like this image. It generally covers everything. You need to go suit. You may even sometimes go out for some plants, but in general, you are in the office planning, doing reports, analysis, data. It's good because you get to have a very nice place to work. Typically, in the chemical plant, you need to go far away from the city. In this case, you get to go to fancy places in the city, inside the city. Also, well, I think it's not to be sexist, but it's more commonly to see a girl in the administrative company rather than in the chemical plant. That's a fact. Actually, I would prefer to see more girls in the industry, but that doesn't happen that often. And of course, and I would say this is awesome work, this is what I do for myself, is go freelance yourself. You got your knowledge, you just need to find people interested in that knowledge. You can, maybe if you've been 5 years in industry, you will probably say, oh, I've done this before, I can improve your quality processes, I can improve your quantity, production lines, manufacturing times, and so on, because you have the experience, and people that has experience may solve problems. And you solve a problem, that means money for a company, they will pay you very gladly. So freelance is a very good opportunity. The only thing is that, well, you will need at least some years of experience. And eventually this is for everyone in planet Earth. You can always open your own business. And the good thing is that you are the director yourself, so all is under your control, or at least the company. You make the decisions, marketing, hiring, financing, product launching, whatever you can imagine, you are the boss. So if someone fails, it's only you. Now let's get a little bit more on the chemist side, which is pretty similar actually. You can teach or be a professor, and this is, I would say, more likely to occur than a chemical engineer. So because let's say it's more typically when you get into research, they will give you some, let's say, teaching or classes or courses because they need you to teach the students, and well, that gives you a lot of points in the university rankings, knowing that this guy with PhDs having some classes in the university. Now, once again, this is strictly not speaking blue collar, but if you want to work as a chemist in a chemical lab, you will be doing this repetitive task of having these equipments, separation techniques, testing, all this stuff right here, and spectrum analysis, analytical techniques, and so on. That if you like it, I will say it's awesome. The bad thing is that you're always in the lab right here. You don't experience that much of the world, but the good thing is that if you actually like that, you will be happy. And the, let's say, white collar stuff is pretty similar to that of the one I was telling you of the chemical engineering. You can go into an office, maybe product, or be the R&D chief. And typically you will need to have some years of experience, let's say maybe in the university and so on. You may work as a, let's say, I don't remember what, when university and private company work together, you can work in a white collar job. And as usual, you can always freelance. Being a chemist is a little bit harder because, well, you will need to find applications directly involving chemistry. But let's say you know a lot of glue technology or painting. What you want to check out is that maybe this industry guy needs to do a formulation for a coating of a barrel he's going to sell for, I don't know, acid industry. So he needs to know which paint he needs in order to be, let's say, anti-corrosive. So it won't actually, the acid will not react. So you can go and check out and show your expertise. Once again, you probably need years of experience, so being a freelancer is not easy. And last but not least, you can always, as I told you before, be your business owner or owner of a business. You are the chief, you control everything, all is up to you. You may be, I don't know, maybe even tutor company, or maybe researcher, or you have your own lab. Whatever you can imagine, you can do it by yourself. So that's what I wanted to show you guys, and eventually it comes to money. So in the next video, we're going to talk about how much do a chemical engineer and maybe also the chemist earn in 1 year.